get started. So I'm Kelly Goetsch. I'm COO at Pipe17, and I'm going to be talking about how order capture to fulfillment modernizing for agentic commerce with order operations. Obviously, AI is a big thing these days, and I think order capture with AI is going to be how we buy things these days going forward. So let's look at the seismic shift in commerce. I think the big one is the shift away from the brand.com to these additional selling channels. So for decades, we just had the brand.com. Now we have marketplaces, we have social, and now we're actually starting to see agentic commerce rise. And Roy Rubin, the co-founder of Magento, which is now Adobe Commerce, he had a pretty bold prediction that the next billion-dollar direct-to-consumer brand would not have a website. And I think that's directionally true. This is a quote from my daughter. She says, websites are for old people, which doesn't make me feel very good, but that's kind of where we're at these days. And, I put generative AI up there even beyond and above cloud and mobile. I mean, this is truly, I don't have to tell you how transformational this is. But if we look at how people bought things forever, historically there was a nice, clean, linear flow of orders, and you'd go from the browse consideration all the way through to actually purchasing something. And then that was connected to your order management system. And now we have like real agentic commerce rising. People are buying things with AI. There's no natural bridge from that agentic shopping head back to the system of record, back to the order management system. So behind agentic shopping, there are some fundamental things that need to change. And if we look at what is required to make agentic shopping really reality, it's a couple things. It's inventory information, it's back office, it's the fulfillment, it's how many things can I actually buy, or how many of those items are physically in a warehouse, how many can I buy? And that becomes really challenging to surface up, because in an age where you're selling across many, many, many more channels, you might be selling across 10 different channels between Shopify and Amazon and TikTok, and you're selling across many of these channels. You might have very limited inventory available, and as a result, you don't have that that granular level of inventory control you have when you just have one warehouse. So what that's led to is a big gap between the selling channels and them knowing what's for sale, from the product catalog, the inventory, the pricing, all the way back to fulfillment. That part is missing. It's very easy to capture orders. It's much harder to surface up that data from all those back-end systems. And I believe that order capture is relatively commoditized at this point. It is not that hard to capture orders, whether it's a social head or a marketplace or a commerce platform, whatever it happens to be, very straightforward to do. But it's what happens after that order has been captured, much, much, much more challenging to do. And historically, we've had these big legacy monolithic order management systems, some of them going back to the 70s even, right? There's a lot of green screens out there that run this stuff. And, obviously that's not scaling with the times. And you can also do it yourself with an iPaaS. It's an integration platform as a service, something like Workato or Celigo. And those are fine for point-to-point connections, but you have Metcalfe's law take effect pretty quick. And Metcalfe's law, Bob Metcalfe, he invented Ethernet, which is the number of nodes in a network is the number of connections squared. So if you have 3 nodes, system A, B, and C, all of a sudden you have 9 different point-to-point connections that have to be made between all those different nodes. And that becomes really challenging to do when you have 5 or 10 selling channels, you have 5 or 10 back office systems of record, you have 5 or 10 fulfillment channels. Pretty quickly you're north of 20 channels that you have to connect. And connecting them all point to point to point to point is really, really challenging to do. And again, back office systems were built for, legacy order management systems specifically, were built for a very different world. They were built for big box, old school, traditional retail. Think Best Buy, right? Think JCPenney. That's a very traditional OMS customer. And there they had one selling channel, which is the brand.com. They had hundreds, if not thousands, of stores. And then they had one owned warehouse. And this is actually a camera I brought for my wife. We were living in downtown Chicago at the time, and it was a 11-day delivery time, and that was not uncommon back then. And Amazon has really set the bar for customer expectations in terms of delivery timelines. Folks want things same day, maybe next day. It's certainly not 11 days, certainly not 5 days. And these systems dominate the market today. It's Manhattan, it's IBM Sterling, and a challenge with them is not necessarily the systems themselves, it's the architecture and the time that they were built, which favors big monolithic systems connected to relational databases. It had to be the center of the world, right? Categorically different approach than today, which is much more lightweight, microservices based, event based, doesn't have to be the system of record, more of a network type concept. And the do-it-yourself approach doesn't scale very well either. Again, that's very dev-heavy. It's very tech-heavy. You're knitting together systems, and those systems become yours to manage. Those integrations become yours to manage over time. Very challenging, approach to do that. And I think it works for your first, 25, 50 million in GMV. But as soon as you cross that 50 million GMV mark, it gets very complicated very, very quickly. And that's where you need something more and better than that. So the path forward is AI native order operations. And first step is you have to make your products discoverable. And that's GEO. It's working with vendors who can feed your product catalog into the LLMs at scale. It's enabling AI-driven orders, so that's how you capture the orders. And then finally, it's the fulfillment infrastructure. And that means partnering with an OMS that actually has the 3PLs as customers of itself. So it's a categorically different approach than we're used to as an industry, and something whose time has very much come now in the age of agentic commerce. So the path forward is AI native order operations, and we define order operations as two distinct layers. The first layer is a network, and that network connects to hundreds of systems behind the scenes, including selling channels, back office systems of record, and fulfillment channels. And then above that, it's the order management layer, and that's using AI to do least cost routing, least carbon intensive routing. It could be fastest routing for VIP customers. It could really be anything. But AI is really, truly transforming order management, and it's exciting to see. Order operations is that combination. It's a discipline and it's a technology together. Very similar to like DevOps, right? And how DevOps transformed, well, I guess development and operations, right? So again, there are two types of approaches here. You could do an iPaaS, and that's fine for lower end small businesses with very limited, simple environments, fine. And then at the very top end, you have the need for traditional order management systems with thousands of physical stores, shipment from stores, buy online, pick up in store. You need something much more in the order management category. For the rest of the market, that 100 million to billion GMV-ish category, that's where you need something like more order operations, where it's a technology, it's also a discipline, more of a network-centric approach. It's categorically different than anything we've seen before. And that's what we are at Pipe17. We're a network, and we're order management together, which is order operations, which we simplify as order ops. And specifically what we are is a network, first and foremost, and we're going very much after like a Twilio, Stripe, Project 44. Those are network-based products, and being network-based, they have a lot of advantages. You can monitor hundreds of millions of orders that flow through those networks on a daily basis, and then you can start to draw patterns, and you can start to train your LLMs on that data. So we are that, but for commerce infrastructure specifically. We have hundreds of nodes. We connect up selling channels, marketplaces, 3PLs, 4PLs, WMSs, back office systems of record, which actually turn out to be the hardest by far. We provide that connectivity layer. What's interesting is we actually sit below, or I guess depending on how you look at it architecturally, above many of the traditional order management systems by providing that connectivity. And specifically, our platform allows folks to connect into third parties and connect into new channels. You plug in your API keys to our product, and therefore you gain access to the network, transform the data, There's a lot of messy data that comes from orders. You know, it might be an emoji that somebody typed in as their first name, right? What do you do with an emoji, right? It becomes very challenging to do. Even something stupid like phone number formats, right? Some selling channels require that you put dashes in the phone numbers. Some explicitly do not allow it. So it becomes very challenging to figure out all the different formats, and that's where you need actual AI-based transformation in place, which is what we offer. Automate, so we automate all the routing, the fulfillment, the rules, the nuts and bolts of order management, getting orders in correctly. Even things like, you know, if a product has lithium-ion batteries, it should automatically be shipped ground, right? Because of restrictions on shipping those things air. Those are one of many examples of where intelligent automation backed by AI makes a big difference. You can visualize as well, so you can see the orders flow through your network. And again, that's very much what it is. It's a network. And then finally, you can perform analysis on that as well. Pippin specifically is our AI assistant, so we see AI in two separate layers. The first layer is within our product. It is, Pippin is our assistant that helps folks perform their daily jobs. It's over the course of their day, they're connecting up to new channels, they're applying transformations, they're applying automations, they're doing the nuts and bolts work of order management. And that's what Pippin helps out with. It's, I hate to use this word, but it's the Clippy equivalent, but a lot more useful and modern. It's there for you as you're doing your daily job. The other level of AI is it's at the LLM level. So it's at the ChatGPT, the Claude, the Perplexity level. And that is more agentic in nature, where it's working across multiple SaaS applications, Pipe17 included. And these are some MCP use cases that we expose. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And what MCP allows us to do is connect up to the literally trillions of dollars invested up in the public LLM space. So look at OpenAI and all the innovation and work around there. We as Pipe17 can expose our data and functionality natively to that. So you pull up your ChatGPT, for example, and you say things like, you know, what are my total order counts grouped by integration today? How many orders came in through Shopify? How many orders have been stuck today? How many orders have taken more than 6 hours to fulfill? So you can get very granular, you can ask questions, you can build dashboards, you can vibe code apps on top of your data from your order management system. And we're quite proud we're the first OMS to fully support, actually, sorry, we're the only OMS to support MCP at this point, yet alone fully support like we do. And this is a quick example. Let's see if this plays here. There we go. So it's creating a visual report here, and in real time, it's actually coding an application. To figure out who did that music internally. It's pretty catchy. But anyway, look, you know, as an intent was written into Claude in this case, you know, how many orders, create a report, and it figured out which MCP tools to use correctly, then extracted the data as requested, and then once it extracted the data, it used that data to build a report around it. And that's pretty cool. We've never had that as an industry before. These are our customer use cases. So first is an OMS alternative. So this is a replacement for a big traditional old school order management system. Next is we sit on top of ERPs. So we're a very big partner of NetSuite. And a lot of folks have valuable data stuck in an ERP and they can't get it out. So we help them get it out. We sit on top of it and then we allow them to interact with that data in real time. Next is for channel expansion. That's, again, a very brand-focused business. And there they might be stuck on, say, Sterling from 2004, and it's okay, it functions. They know they have to get rid of it, but right now they just have to start selling on TikTok because TikTok is a $1 billion GMV business, huge source of GMV out there. And there are a lot of these very fast-moving channels that we support the moment we're able to, and you need to be selling on them. You need to sell where eyeballs are. And then finally, we also sell to 3PLs and OEMs. And in that business case, what we're doing is selling to folks like Radial or Ryder or FedEx. And they use us as Pipe17 to get their customers, presumably you all, into their 3PL. So we have thousands of indirect customers that way. And in that model, brands are customers of our customer. So an advantage to them, to the 3PLs, is they get to sign customers on to the Pipe17 network, which grants them access to the 3PL. And on top of that, they also get access to their Shopify and their NetSuite and whatever else they happen to be connecting to out there. These are some brands and 3PLs we have as customers today. We're quite proud of them. Amazing growth, some great brand names here. Wise is an example of a customer selling across 5 different channels, 3 different 3PLs. They have a data lake. Very common type of customer for us, where digitally native brand, they grow up, they get big, they're starting to sell across many, many more channels, and they need something more than an iPaaS. They really don't want to go out and spend a couple $1 million and implement a big blown order management system. Noble, another customer of ours, we sit on top of their ERP. Their ERP is NetSuite in this case. They use NetSuite as their order management system, so we provide the connectivity there for NetSuite. And then UPS is a great one. We have 186 brands connected through it. We have 97 unique Shopify storefronts. And again, UPS uses us to get their customers onboarded onto their 3PL. So it's an indirect use of our product. Well, sorry, the customers are directly using it. It's an indirect commercial relationship because you as brands would be customers of UPS, and UPS is a customer of us. So just to quickly summarize, agility, huge advantage of what we offer as a company, very low cost to get set up. We do onboardings rather than full implementations. Another is accuracy, especially around inventory. So anytime an inventory object is touched, updated, changed, whatever, we propagate that in real time across all of the channels, including selling channels, back office systems. So that way everybody has the same unit of measurement. And we specifically do not have to be the system of record. We can be, but in many cases we're actually not that system of record. And we permit the OMS or NetSuite, for example, to be that system of record. And that's a huge value because we're not like other SaaS platforms that inherently demand to be that system of record. Control is a really big one. We give control back to business users. Many systems are very IT-led. To do anything, you have to ticket IT, and business users just sit in this ticketing queue forever. And that gets to be quite frustrating for them over time. And then finally, cost, because we're a network-centric approach. Network is our core underlying architecture. If we have, Shopify changes their APIs, we update that change centrally and we propagate it across all of our customers in real time. The same way that, if there's a cell phone tower around here and Verizon updates its network, all the customers get access to that new functionality instantaneously. Very network-centric approach. We did this great white paper with RMW Commerce Consulting, Rick Watson, if you know Rick. Have a look at that, and that was done with Shopify as well. So proud to collaborate with them and Rick on this paper, but talks a lot about when you need a new order management system, what to look for in order management systems, order operations versus order management as a category, and then it goes into total cost of ownership savings as well. And that's it. We've got a booth over there in the corner. We'd love to see you. Please stop by. And with that, we'll open it up to questions.